Hey everybody, hope you all having a good day. Now I want to give you guys a quick story. So a couple of months ago, I went to a parish to do like a homeschool karate class. Now this homeschool karate class was pretty fun. I got to teach kids some martial art techniques. There's about like 30 young kids and 10 teenagers, and I was teaching them martial art techniques. I gave them the story of Blessed Takayama, and then at the end I asked, okay, how many of you guys pray the rosary every day? And pretty much every single kid's hand went up, right? And then I asked them a second question. I said, okay, that's great. How many of you guys pray the rosary by yourself? Right? And mind you, there was about 40 kids in this class, and only 3 kids' hands were raised, right? Now, this was a very traditional parish. It was a homeschool co-op, and I was kind of shocked by that, but also not surprised, because when I was growing up, I only really remember praying the rosary by myself, not by myself, but with my family, right? Now, praying the rosary as a family is good. Going to Mass together is good. Doing things as a family is obviously much needed in our society, right? You need to have that example. But if you want your kids to develop a strong interior life, they also have to learn how to do things on their own, right? I'm going to give you guys an analogy. So, I'm a martial arts instructor, and I like to kind of draw similarities from that into our Catholic faith. And as an instructor, my job is to teach my students the techniques so that way when they compete, if they desire to compete, that they can basically be self-sufficient, right? At the end of the day, my athletes are not, I'm not holding their hand while they're fighting, right? I'm not playing a video game and controlling what moves they do. I can coach to them, I can give them guidance, but at the end of the day, they are going to be fighting the battles, right? And this is so similar to the spiritual life, right? So when we are teaching our kids how to develop a strong interior life, there's 3 things I recommend, top 3 things. And if you guys want to read more about it, I made an Instagram post down below. You guys can check that out. I'm posting more stuff on Instagram. But the first thing is, obviously, have them learn to pray the rosary by themselves, right? So if you do like a family rosary, maybe you have it like every, after dinner or before dinner. Every once in a while say like, okay, everyone go to your rooms and we're all going to pray the rosary alone. Everyone's going to be separate, right? I know this might be weird, and you might think like, oh, maybe your kids are just going to be in there doing something else. Obviously remove distractions, right? Make sure that they're not tempted, right? But if your kids are old enough to pray the rosary, just encourage them to like, hey, we're going to do solo rosary this time, right? And when you're finished, then you can come out, right? So that's one thing I recommend. Make that a habit of where they're praying the rosary by themselves, and they might end up just doing it on their own, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is have them write in a private prayer journal, okay? And it's important it's private, okay? Explain to them that you're never going to read it. As tempted as we want to read our kids' stuff, we can't read it, right? And we tell them this is between you and God, and just tell them like, you know what? It's a really good habit to first of all write your feelings, write your thoughts, but also treat this like you're writing a letter to God about your day. What did you do today? What did you do in the morning? What things do you wish you could have done better, right? This is very powerful for not only just spiritually, but psychologically as well, right? And I think a lot of us neglect getting in touch with what's going in our head. And it's a lot easier to see things objectively when we write them down. So having your kids make that habit, and if they're too young, right, have them draw pictures. Be like, hey, draw a picture about what you did today and present it to God, right? And again, this is all privately. They're all doing this alone. You're not really guiding them. You're not really coaching them. Obviously, if they have a question or something, you can give them insight, but you want to make them become self-sufficient, right? And number 3, most important, be an example. So if you're going to tell your kids to pray the rosary alone, make sure they know that you do that too, right? There's one time when I was becoming Catholic, when I was around 10, 11 years old, and this stuck with me for the rest of my life. And my father, at the time, he was kind of wanting to become Catholic, but he wasn't fully sold on it yet. But then when he finally did say, okay, I'm going to take RCIA. I'm going to join. You know, at the time my mom was going through that process again after reverting back. He did this, and it stuck in my head. One time after Mass was over, we were all going to leave to go to the parish hall and to eat donuts or whatever, right? And my father says, hey, you guys can go. I'm going to stay here and pray. Right? I'm going to stay here for a bit longer. I need to pray about some things. And then we just walked off, but that stuck in my head for many, many years, right? To this day, that stuck in my head. So don't underestimate the impact that has, right? The impact that has when you tell your family, if you're a father or a mother, right? Especially if you're a father, because as a father, you are responsible, or rather, you are head of the household. So a lot of the spiritual attacks are going to come to you first. So if the devil sees a strong father, they're less likely to attack the children, right? Because they're like, well, this guy is too, there's too much grace, there's too much, he's in God's favor, and the children are under his authority, his wife is under his authority. I don't want to, he's going to be threatened by you, right? Simply because you have God's favor, right? The devil hates that. So if you are doing that in front of your kids, they see you pray, they see you open the Bible, they see you reading it, that's going to have impact on them. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of young men who, when they're asked about what got you into the priesthood, what helped you grow your vocation, every time I hear a story, it's always something about, well, my father did this, my father did that, my father read the Bible every morning, my father prayed with us, my father would stay after. Stories like that, and I would hear it and I would be like, wow, that's really interesting, right? So and we need more priests, we need more seminarians, we need so much of that, and I pray one day my kids kindle that relationship, whether it's in a convent, whether it's in in a monastery or as a diocesan. We got to nourish that, and it starts by helping them develop a strong interior life. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you guys want to see new content. And also just remember, I made this post basically summarizing this video on Instagram. So if you want to watch that, you can check it out below. Okay, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless.